I'm fine. Two words that built a wall around your life. Behind them, grief, exhaustion, and a quiet belief that your pain doesn't matter. You say it so easily now, like an instinct. Someone asks if you're okay, and before your mind even catches up, your mouth answers for you. I'm fine. But you're not fine. You haven't been for a long time. You're just practiced at holding it in, at swallowing the lump in your throat, at wearing composure like a uniform. Somewhere along the line, fine became your safety. Your disguise, your way of staying lovable in a world that never learned how to hold your pain without flinching. It probably started when you were young, when crying felt like too much, when needing comfort only made things worse. Maybe you were told to toughen up, or that other people have it worse. Maybe no one said anything at all, but you could feel it. The tension in the room when you showed emotion, the silence that followed your tears. And so you learned. You learned that your sadness made people uncomfortable. You learned that vulnerability wasn't safe. You learned to tuck your feelings neatly behind a smile. You became the calm one, the caretaker, the reliable presence. And for a while it worked. People liked you. They called you strong. They leaned on you. But underneath that calm, something inside you was slowly fading. The part that wanted to be seen. Not just for your strength, but for your softness too. That's the cruel paradox of emotional suppression. It begins as protection, a survival response. Your nervous system, shaped by moments of invalidation or chaos, decides that showing emotion equals danger. It's the body's way of saying, if I stay quiet, I'll be safe. Psychologists might call it a form of fawn response or emotional numbing, but to you, it just feels like emptiness. Like you're watching your own life from behind glass, able to observe but unable to feel. You keep performing stability, keep saying, I'm fine, even when your chest feels heavy and your laughter sounds rehearsed. Because being fine has become part of who you are, an identity built from absence. And yet, the cost of always being fine is subtle but devastating. It's in the relationships that feel one-sided, where you're always the listener but never the one listened to. It's in the exhaustion that follows every social interaction, the way your body tenses when someone asks how you're really doing. It's in the loneliness that doesn't make sense, because technically nothing is wrong. You have a job, friends, a life that looks full, but it's a life without texture, without aliveness, because when you suppress the sadness, you suppress the joy too. You can't selectively numb emotions. That's not how the psyche works. So you end up living in grayscale, where everything looks fine but feels muted. Over time, fine becomes your cage. It's the reason you struggle to cry even when you want to. It's why you feel guilty for resting, why happiness feels suspicious, why intimacy feels overwhelming. It's why people describe you as so chill, so put together, while inside you're quietly screaming for someone to notice the cracks. But no one does, because you've trained them not to. You've curated an image of composure so convincing that even you believe it sometimes. You mistake calm for peace, silence for strength, but your body knows the difference. It knows when you're holding too much. The headaches, the tight shoulders, the restless nights, they're the language of unspoken emotion. And maybe deep down you already sense it, that the fatigue you feel isn't just physical, it's emotional backlog, years of unexpressed grief sitting in your body like sediment. You think you've moved on from the past, but really, you've just buried it alive. Every I'm fine was a shovel full of dirt, and now you can't quite remember who you were before the burying began. The inner child who used to feel freely, where did they go? The one who cried without shame, who reached for comfort without fear of rejection. They didn't disappear. They adapted. They learned to shrink. They learned to smile instead. They became the version of you who survives by not needing. Healing begins when you realize that being fine was never the goal. It was the mask. And like all masks, it cracks under the weight of truth. The moment you stop trying to seem okay, you might feel everything you've been avoiding. The sadness, the anger, the longing. It will feel wrong at first, like you're breaking some unspoken rule. Because in your family, maybe emotions were dangerous. In your friendships, maybe vulnerability was met with distance. In your mind, maybe feeling equals weakness, but the truth is the opposite. Feeling is what makes you human. It's what reconnects you to yourself after years of pretending. You might find that healing doesn't look graceful. It looks like crying in your car for no reason, like saying, "I don't know," when someone asks how you are, like writing a text and deleting it because you're learning that not everyone deserves access to your inner world. It looks like exhaustion because your body is finally exhaling after years of holding its breath. It looks like stillness, the kind that isn't numb, but peaceful. It's a strange recalibration, learning to trust your emotions again, to realize they're not enemies, but messengers. Your anger says something is unfair. Your sadness says, "I lost something that mattered." Your fear says, "I need safety." Every emotion is a fragment of truth that was once silenced, and now it's asking to be heard. When you start letting those emotions move, the numbness begins to melt. Slowly, your life gains color again. You notice beauty in small things, the sound of rain, the way sunlight spills across your room. You begin to feel joy without fear it will vanish. You learn that it's okay to not be strong all the time, that your worth was never tied to how well you carry pain in silence. You start saying, "I'm not fine," and nothing bad happens. The world doesn't fall apart. The people who truly care stay. And maybe for the first time, you realize that honesty doesn't push love away. It deepens it. Still, healing isn't linear. There will be days you slip back into old patterns where you say, "I'm fine," automatically, where vulnerability feels too dangerous. But even that is progress, because now you notice it. You catch the old reflex and pause. You begin to choose differently, to breathe, to tell the truth, to let someone in. It's in these small, quiet choices that you reclaim your life. Because healing isn't about becoming unbreakable, it's about becoming real again. Maybe fine was what kept you safe once, but now you're allowed to want more than safety. You're allowed to want depth, connection, aliveness. You're allowed to be human, messy, emotional, complicated, alive. The cost of always being fine is the loss of your truest self, but the reward of finally feeling, of finally saying, "Actually, I'm not okay, but I'm trying," is freedom. Not the kind that comes from control, but from surrender, from finally allowing yourself to exist fully without pretending. And maybe that's what you've been searching for all along. Not perfection, not strength, but permission. Permission to be seen, permission to be held, permission to be real.